welcome. Gonna give it a second to click onto live. Okay, everybody should be here with us. Thank you so much for tuning in to the live stream of the Are You Green podcast. Let's go ahead and click record and get into it. But of course, if you're watching this video after the live stream, please go ahead and subscribe to my channel so you can get notified of when I go live on Tuesdays, Wednesdays, and Fridays. And then also like this video if you can, so I can continue making awesome content for the podcast and recording it on YouTube. I think it feels a little bit more like a personal conversation, you know, when I do this in real life on YouTube. So let's go ahead and click record and get started. Hello, traders and friends. Welcome to the Are You Green podcast. Today is Tuesday, November 17th, and I woke up this morning with a huge grin on my face as I saw the Tesla stock soaring. We'll get into that trade and the Tesla news in a little bit later. The SPY this morning opened at 359.97. And the previous close was 362.57. So because it had such a big pop yesterday, there was a little pop off the open, but mostly along then a really big drop. And it's been climbing up ever so slightly throughout the day. But is the S&P 500 green today? No. It is not. It's barely red. I love to talk about the XLK indicator because it's just for the technology stocks. And that opened at 121.76 this morning. The previous close was 122.37. So same thing. We saw a little bit of a loss in that one. And it is a little bit in the red today. So, you know, with all of that being said, these, you know, indicators being red today, sure everybody wants to know, are you green? And yes, I am green today. That is primarily because I am holding on to a few really good swing trades that are already in the green, as well as a great trade that I made today. So stick around. We're going to go over the news around Tesla with the road to the S&P 500. We're going to talk a little bit about my personal trades because there were so many today. I continued my swing with SPT. I did a closing the swing for Tesla and sold it for an amazing return. And I'll go into those details. I also executed a day trade with BIDU, BIDU, DraftKings. I mean, there's so much to come. So thanks for tuning in. Let's take a small break and then we'll dive right into digesting the news. Digesting the news? Okay, see you guys in a sec. I don't know what word that is. Probably digesting the news. My bad. So let's go ahead and save that intro to the podcast. And we'll start recording the next segment. The news this morning felt very personal because, as you guys know, I have a swing trade happening with Tesla. I bought it at 401.75. So to see the stock soar and the news with Tesla was very exciting because I knew I was probably going to be able to sell it for a really great return this morning. Just focusing, though, on the news, in case you guys haven't heard, Tesla has been announced that they are going to be added into the S&P 500 index on December 21st, pre-market, so for that trading day. This is really, really hot news because people have been, you know, kind of speculating about this for a while. And they usually, when they add a new stock to the S&P 500, they just give you a few days notice. They do their thing and that's it. You just get a few days. This time, they're giving us more than a month's notice because of this complication that they now have with Tesla. So why is it so complicated? Well, Tesla is actually going to be the largest company ever added to the S&P 500. The amount of profit that they have is more than 95%. So, you know, that's their market cap, like what the company is worth. Sorry, that's how I should have worded that. So the company worth is more than 95% of companies in the S&P 500. So that is, a huge impact to this index. The second largest company to ever be added to the S&P 500 was Facebook. So it's really exciting to see that Tesla is going to be added. And the reason why they gave us such a large notice is because they don't know how they're going to do it. I love when I get to dive down into news and just kind of, translate for all of you guys out there, because the finance world, they want you all to think that they are brilliant and, successful, but a lot of it can be very convoluted. And at the end of the day, this announcement, from them has basically said, we need advice. So they released this and said that they're putting together a committee to look over how they're going to add this to the S&P 500. And they are also taking advice from, any huge investor that calls. So this is, going to be a road to the S&P 500. So I'll throw this in segments as we can hear news about what they're doing. The big thing that they're deciding is whether they want to add it to the S&P 500 all at once, or if they want to actually split the stock up. So typically in December, quarterly, they have a rebalancing of the S&P 500. So, we know that was coming, and, they really need to figure out how they're going to balance Tesla in. So Jim Cramer, kind of talked about the excitement that this is going to bring, especially to young traders. And, honestly, I love him. You guys know, he's so dramatic. And a little extreme, but I did not like what he said about this. He basically said that all the young investors love buying Tesla stock and they are just kings of the obvious. When the CNBC interviewer, kind of went into some examples with, how we found out about cruise lines doing testing, and then the cruise line they bought, the cruise line went up. It basically sounded like, all the trades that this generation of obvious is buying into are actually working for them. So, Jim had to take a step back and say, yes, I'm glad that, we still have these new traders with us, but I was a little offended because I love trading Tesla. And I know that there are, people younger trading more than ever before with zero commissions and easy to use apps like Robinhood and Webull. And he needs to give us a little bit more credit. So, but that was his take on it. And again, we'll just continue to watch this and see where it goes. But this is a great segue to talk about my personal trades today. This morning, I did go ahead and sell Tesla. I know that, it might be going higher, and this news might make it, even more of a good buy, but I'm not that long-term investor. I'm just, doing these swing trades to make the income and the percentages that I am looking for to hit my trading goals. So as far as a goal goes, this was amazing. I bought it at 401.75. I sold it this morning for 457.87. That's a 56.12 points gain. It's a huge gain for me. It's over 13.9%. So that was just such a great trade. When you start your day off like that, nothing can go wrong. However, because I had this trade under my belt, I did have to really watch what I did personally, because you kind of get on a trading high, and I want to, I had to remind myself to stick to my strategy. I did buy a little bit more into my swing trade of Sprout Social. That's SPT. I bought at 45.05. At 44.05, and that stock has already gone up from when I bought it this morning. My average on this is 45, and I have no problem holding this for a couple of weeks. It's pretty new, and I definitely want at least a few points on it before I sell. I did want to quickly discuss a trade that I had in for GAN. That is GAN. So I'm gonna pull up my charting software as we talk about this one. So I find ideas to trade in a few different ways. I have a scanner that is tied to my pivot strategy that I watch, and that scanner is incredible. And then I also follow a few traders in a trading group. For those of you who are out there just kind of trading alone, I would recommend getting into a trading group. There are so many out there, and the one thing I'll tell you is you need to just be able to read through the BS when you look at those trading groups, because they're going to claim to make you a huge return. You're going to get like 4% every single day, and and anyone who's making these claims, you need to just really dive into the group, into what strategy they're using. But at the end of the day, I do think that having a group with a chat room and people to trade with is incredibly beneficial. Again, it just gives you more eyes and ears because there's only so many charts you can pull up and look at. So this stock, GAN, it did hit on my scanner as dropping pretty low to the pivot point at 1497. So I did have a buy in. And I started a little bit early. I started at 1522, and I did think that there was going to be a bounce towards that area. It did go sideways for a couple of candles. And what I mean by that is I use a 5-minute chart. So each candle represents 5 minutes. I love the 5-minute chart. I think it's a really great interval to watch. And when I saw, that it was kind of teetering out, I did go ahead and stop out of this trade. I lost a cent. And I was really glad at the time that I did go ahead and stop out, because, it ended up falling pretty hard, way down to 1474. What I found incredible about this stock that I wanted to go over with you guys is that, I bought into it because it fit my strategy. I stopped out because it was going sideways, and basically I just, didn't have enough faith in my strategy, because even though it hit down at 1474, right after that, it bounced back up. And guys, right now it's at 1596. So, that is a trade that I chose to stop out of this morning, and it would have worked in my favor. So with those, you can't feel too much regret, but it is important to review these trades, see what happened to the stock after you sold, to, really reinforce your strategy, or to, fix your strategy for the future. But I thought that was interesting, so I wanted to share with you. I also thought today I was going to be entering into a new swing trade with BIDU, with BIDU. So what I do with the swing trades is I scale in. So I have a order that I want to start with, and then I usually anticipate the stock dropping a little bit more. So I put in orders to size in, making sure I have a really great average so that when it bounces, I can go ahead and sell for a profit. And I had multiple orders in. So I bought at 141.21. Then I had an order in at 140.65, and I really had a size in at 140.27. Unfortunately, it just bounced way too early. So my buys down below didn't get bought. And what I did at this point is I decided to turn this swing trade into a day trade, because I didn't have a large enough size to really make a difference for the swing to make it worth holding. Because that's something that you have to consider with a swing trade, is that, you have to take that chance of holding back your capital, investing in that stock, even for if it's a couple days, a week, whatever, and then selling it for, a really good return. So with BIDU, because it didn't get down to those additional buy levels I had, I was already such a small size, and I just decided to, go ahead and make it a day trade and sell it at 144.11. So as far as day trades go, it was a great trade because I made 2.9 net points. So, that is definitely a win. The disappointing thing with this trade is my size. I do wish I would have sized in a little bit more so that I could really stretch that profit out. And again, trading, you got to just learn from every single buy, every single sell, review the charts, and next time, perhaps I can make a better decision in terms of sizing in on this one. So I am out with a day trade on that one. It also takes up one of my day trades because I do have a small account, and under the pattern day trader restriction, I can only make 3 day trades in a 5-day business period. So I have to be careful about that. I knew that, I had day trades left to make in my account. So that's why I went ahead and did it. If I was done with day trades for, the next few days because of this PDT restriction, then I would have held for a swing and made it work. But I am happy that, I was able to just get out of it and take my profit and run. Speaking of, I did also go ahead and sell the rest of DraftKings. That's DKNG. My average was 44.10. So I did, I have been selling this stock as it pops up. But really I was holding back because of course, I just want huge gains. And I'm all about trying to maximize my profit. So I was holding back selling this. I had sell levels at 48, and then I had a majority of it to be sold at 50. Reviewing the chart this morning, I just don't know if it's going to get there. And what happened is that because it made such a great gain today, I feel like a drop is coming tomorrow. And I'm just ready to clear this one out of my account to take my profit and run. Even though, it did hit my goal. I made 2.35 points on this. So I ended up selling for an average of 46.45. So I did make my profit goal. And, at the end of the day, no one is going to fault you for taking profits. So, go ahead and do that. Obviously you want to stick to your plan, your trading plan, but you need to be able to be flexible with that plan because on that chart, I'll go ahead and bring it up because it had such a big movement up so fast. I just wanted to, go ahead and take advantage of it while I could. And, again, it was just based on the other days that I've seen it gap up. I was able to sell for a great level. So I just wanted to go ahead and take this one and get it out of my account. So I did, sell that one. I'm still in a couple of really exciting swing trades. At some point, I would love to just kind of keep a running list so you guys know what I'm holding on to. I don't really know how I can create that list and then convey that information to my podcast listeners. But that's something that I'm trying to work out for this podcast. Another thing that I'm trying to work out, since I'm doing live streams on Tuesdays, Wednesdays, and Fridays, trying to figure out if and how I can share a chart as I, go over these things. I think that, that would be really beneficial. So I could show you guys, what the pivots look like on my chart. And you could very easily see my strategy. So that is something that I'm working on as this podcast grows. I want to thank you guys so much for listening. It's so exciting to see, this listenership grow. And I do have a brand new Instagram account. It's called Are You Green Podcast. So please feel free to check that out. You can DM me there, which is why I opened it. You can comment on a lot of the posts that I do so that we can really start a conversation. As I mentioned before, as a trader, it's always great to have people to bounce ideas off of, to learn a little bit more of why they made that buy, why they made that sell. So I really want everyone to be successful who's listening to the podcast. And I would love to, assist you guys if you have any questions about trading, my specific trading strategy, or anything that I have reported on. So that is it for today. I mean, the Tesla news just had me grinning from ear to ear. But, trading is a roller coaster. So get ready for the ride tomorrow. I don't know what will come. But like I mentioned, I don't like to predict the markets. I just like to follow my charts, my strategy, and trade as best as I can. So thank you again for listening, and I'll talk to you tomorrow. Stay safe. Awesome. Well, thank you guys so much for watching this live stream. I know it's a little bit more raw than the podcast because I don't have background music, and obviously I have to take breaks to segment and create the podcast as I go. But it's really nice to be able to record the podcast live and give you guys some video content, as well as a place to communicate with me in the comments. And then also, again, following me in Instagram is another way to get a hold of me. So thanks again for listening to the Are You Green podcast. I will see you for the live stream tomorrow. Bye.